Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another personal injury pop-in, also known as PI pop-in, with attorney Joy Fairell and attorney Kimberly Hall. This week, we're going to be talking about private property accidents and how to handle those and what you should do in the event you're in an accident on private property. So before we get going into that good information, I want to introduce myself and attorney Hall to you, just in case this is your first time tuning in. For those who do not know me, my name is attorney Joy Fairell. I am the managing partner at Fairell, Roy and Associates, where we have two parts of our practice areas. We have family law and we have personal injury. Family law is divorce, custody, child support, wills and estates, all that good stuff. On our personal injury side of the practice, we do auto accident cases and slip and falls. So if you have any case that falls in those categories, make sure you give us a call. If you're not sure if your case falls in those categories, make sure you give us a call. Our phone number and website will be scrolling across the bottom of the screen for the duration of the recording. So you can go ahead and save it in your phone. You can just tap it in there and just save us as like my lawyers, favorite attorneys, however you want to do it. Just make sure you don't forget us. Because the interesting thing about, right, the interesting thing about personal injury that's different from family law is that family law, you can anticipate needing an attorney. With personal injury, they're accidents, meaning they happened unexpectedly when you left to go out to Publix. You had no idea you were going to be in a collision. And so when those moments happen, we want you to be prepared to be able to reach out to us very quickly so that we can step in and help you. So I'll let Attorney Hall introduce herself to you, and then we'll jump right into our content for today.
Good morning. I am Attorney Kimberly Hall. I am winner, greatness, queen. Lover of PI, we go through these titles every week if this is the first time you are watching this. But I am the managing attorney over the personal injury department here at Fairell, Roy and Associates. And I love what I do. I have been doing this now for more than a decade, as Attorney Fairell always so graciously says about me. And I love what I do, have a lot of experience, seen a lot of things, handled a lot of different cases. And so it is just my pleasure to be on here and to just give you knowledge about different things about personal injury. You know, it's our hope that it doesn't happen to you, but if it does, then we want you to already be prepared with the things that you need to do to have a successful outcome for your case.
Okay, so with that, we're going to jump right into our conversation. We're talking about private property accidents. And so private property, Attorney Hall, tell them what private property is, because these accidents are very common. I've actually been in one or two myself. So tell us, what is private property accidents?
Yeah, and private property happens all the time. And of course, you don't hear a lot about them, but private property, just think of them in terms of like you are not on the highways and byways, as you know, the old people would say. So you're not on the interstate, you're not on a side street, but hey, you were in the Target parking lot, or you were in the Wells Fargo parking lot, or you were in the KFC parking lot, right? So those are private property. Private property is also like if you are in the building. So you're inside a Walmart, you are inside a Target, any of those things as well, Kroger, Publix, you name it, all of those things are private property. So in just about every occasion where you are not on the interstate or a side street, but actually on the property of a building of some sort, it is private property.
Basically anything that's privately owned, right?
Yes.
Basically anything our tax dollars aren't paying for. Well, yes. I think government buildings are also private property, so our tax dollars are very much paying for those. Or are they not?
Yeah, but then I guess, you get a little legal depending like where it falls, it's federal property and then who you're suing and all of that. But I think it's still considered, private property, just a different entity though.
Yeah. Right. Can you hear somebody falling on government property saying, my tax dollars, I want my tax dollars, like pay me my coin. I pay for this building. This is my building. My tax dollars pay for this.
I'm sure they have heard it at this point.
I'm sure. Okay. So y'all got it. Basically that's your Targets, your Walmarts, your home. That's one.
Yes.
private property.
It
Somebody
is.
used my car in my driveway. I had a service being provided at my home, and they backed into my brand new car. I wasn't in it, so it wasn't an injury.
Did they fix it?
Oh, absolutely. He wanted to keep it off record, but I was like, nah, bruh, we're gonna have to go on the record with this one. So, at your home or when you're at somebody else's house, when you go to those birthday parties, that is considered private property. So, absolutely. What type of accidents can occur on private property? There are two types, so we're going to talk about those.
Right. So typically there are only two types of injuries on personal property, and that is either a slip and fall or you're in a vehicle. And let me add into that slip and fall because we've also had like the nail shop cases where, burnt. Yeah,
we had the gun case where
we did have that.
The coach accidentally shot her.
Right.
The instructor.
The instructor.
Yeah.
Yes.
So pretty much whatever business entity you're on, whatever injury can possibly happen there. If you're at a art studio, we love to go to the art studios and make the wooden boards. If you use a nail gun accidentally, shoot yourself in the hand. So it's a plethora of accidents, but the main ones we're going to see are the bumps when you're backing up or hitting somebody in the parking lot and then slipping and falling, whether it be on ice, those are most of them. Tripping on uneven ground, slipping on milk, all those things.
There are definitely, and I talk about this with my team all the time, like personal injury is just so vast because there are just so many different ways that you can get injured.
Get hurt.
So,
oh my God.
but I tell people like, if you get hurt, just call. Let me go through all the other stuff. Just if you get hurt, just call, right? Because then we can get. I had one client. She was actually working for like a nursing. What do you call it? Like it wasn't hospice, but she was an in-house home aide lady.
Yeah.
Going to assist the lady, and she fell. And so she technically had two claims, right? Because she got hurt while she was working, but she also, but she also was on private property,
right?
So yeah, it's again, that's why personal injury is so exciting because different things can just come up and they can show up in so many different ways. Sometimes it's not just so simple as a fender bender.
All right, it's never that simple. That's why lawyers are always involved with something, and people think it's simple, but it's not because there's so many complex factors that go into it. So if somebody does find an injury occurring on a private property, let's kind of walk them through what they should do, because it's the private property cases, like I just said, someone tried to do to me. They want to keep the police out of it.
Yes.
Let's talk about the police. Can they issue a citation on private property? What to do if they don't, or when they don't? How to navigate through that first step? What do you think?
So what to do? The first thing and what to do is make a report.
Yeah.
People are, and that's a good thing about our society. People are so kind, right? Sometimes, but you have to protect your case or the potential of a case.
Right.
And you need to always make a report. If you slip and fall in a store, you need to make a report. You need to get a copy of the incident report. I have had clients say they wouldn't give me a copy. You got a phone, take a picture with your phone before you give it back to them, because sometimes they just won't give you one. I would ask for who's corporate, right? Who is this going to be reported to? How many days can I expect to hear back? You need to get management's name first and last, right?
Yes.
What their position is at the store. They may just be an associate, but they may be co-manager. They may be manager. So you need to get all of that information if you are on the property of the store.
Just to put this in there, you need to do it the day it happens. We don't want you going back the next day or 2 days later. The moment that it happens, as soon as you're able to stand up or as soon as you're able to get some movement, you need to go report it immediately.
You do. And honestly, if you are, I always tell people on a slip and fall in a store, you should absolutely call the ambulance. And the reason that is because it's concrete, and so it is really severe trauma. And I'm telling you, some of the work, I have seen people more banged up on slip and falls than in car accidents because there is no protection. Your body is straight on, you know, concrete, it's straight on cement, you know, whatever the case may be. I have a case right now.
Brace either.
What'd you say?
There's no bracing.
No, there's no cushion, no nothing.
Yeah.
So we have a case now. Lady fell outside of a Lowe's. Out on the pavement going to like just go look at the flowers, and it had these big, I won't say big holes, but I mean, it clearly they should have had signs up, because if you just walking, you know, you wouldn't see it, and her foot got stuck down in it while she was walking. I mean, and so these kind of things. So again, incident reports. Take pictures of the incident report. If somebody saw you fall, that's the other thing. A lot of times people don't do that either. Somebody saw you fall, or they try to help you up. Hey, you know, I don't know what's going to happen with this. Can I get your name and number and an email address? Can I get your name and number, telephone number? Like all of that information, because a lot of times the store manager or whoever is not going to get that information from the people around. Oh, why, Attorney Hall? Because when they have access in the store, it comes off their bottom line and they don't get their bonuses. I'm just going to tell you, I know that firsthand. Okay.
Correct. So, and if, just as a good Samaritan, if you see somebody fall, if you see it, you can offer yourself to be a witness to that person. Just because, like, I know, like, if when I see certain things, I'm like, oh, this is going to be highly in dispute, you know, how this happened. I will say, hey, here's my number. You know, you can email me, you can call me if anything comes of this or whatever. And sometimes I'm like, you know, I'm a lawyer too now. So, you know,
you give them your business card.
Yes, like here, you know, if you're gonna do something with it, you know, let's see if we can get another witness over here. But you know, I'm also a lawyer, but you know, it was honestly a bystander that made all the difference of that accident I got into in Michigan, because the at fault driver, who I knew was at fault, she ran the red light. I knew I did not run the red light. I was absolutely certain of it. She was an older Caucasian woman, and she was very believable. And I'm like, she is lying, because actually the first thing I did when my car, after it went out through all the lanes, I looked up at the light. I was like, I know I didn't run that light, is my first thought. I was like, did I run that light? Was I wrong here? And I looked up and I was like, I had the light, verified it from the jump. And I was like, oh my gosh, nobody gonna believe me. But when the police officer, after I went to the hospital and all that, when they called me, they were like, hey, a witness stepped up. Somebody saw it. They told us exactly what happened, and here's their information. But if that witness hadn't stepped up, it would have been a really big issue, because they didn't know who to believe.
Right. And it's so important. I'm glad you said that, because there have been cases actually where I have represented the person, and come to find out, like, you get this report and there are these witnesses, and the person, like, and I'll just use you for an example, like, they swear it wasn't them. They didn't cross the lane. They didn't run the light. And a lot of times we just drive subconsciously, right? Like, we just get in the car and start driving, and we don't
autopilot.
And so, right. And so it's like, hey, yeah, I stopped at that light. Oh yeah, I stopped at that stop sign. And I have had multiple cases where witnesses have come in and said, hey, no, that's not the way it happened. She ran the light, she crossed the line, and all of that. And so even though that wasn't a case we could continue to represent, it was just so important that other people stopped and really told what happened, because, I mean, somebody was hurt, essentially, you know? And so at the end of the day, we want the facts, right? We want the truth, and we want the correct parties, you know, to have to pay or have their financial recovery or whatever the case may be. And I hated it. I'm thinking of one case in particular. I hated it. She was in the hospital for 2 weeks. She had just moved here, had just started a new job. You know, it was all of these different moving parts.
Yeah.
But, you know, to the other person's defense, I mean, I'm glad that somebody really came out and said, hey, this is what happened. And actually it was like 2 different witnesses that, you know, talked about what happened. So that is such a good point as well, to make sure you stop too, to make sure that that person, you know, has the truth on their side, because we get cases all the time and they're like, hey, well, we couldn't determine who was at fault. Right. Yeah. Good point. So we talked about, on the property, but the other thing on private property, a lot of times what happens, people back into people. And, you know, people are like, oh, it was a tap. But let me tell you, people, you can get hurt in a tap. Okay. No question. Right. No question there. You could definitely get hurt in a tap. So it is important. Again, I don't care the minimal amount of property damage, and the people like, I'll pay you out of my pocket. You need to call the police. And let me be clear, the police officer is not going to write a ticket. They do not have the authority to write a ticket on private property, but they do have the authority to give you a report, some kind of incident report or an actual police report, and that is important. The other thing I encourage you to do, which I've had a lot of clients start doing, is to call the insurance company at the scene. A lot of people, you know, they wait or whatever, but it's already on record. The other person is there. A lot of the information that the insurance company is asking for your insurance company, you can give it to them then, and it's already documented and notated. So if issues come up later, guess what? Nope, it's already recorded. I called while I was there. I gave you all the information. And so that is also important to your case. And that's another thing that you can do, even filing an incident report or an accident report.
Yeah. And then just a tip on that too, because everybody's so modern now. What I did when the guy hit my car on my property, and I said, open up he was with Geico. And I said, open up your Geico app. I want you to open the claim like right now.
Yeah.
And so he went into his app, he typed it in, but I stood there while he did everything. And then he gave me a claim number. Just like that. And so when I called Geico, they were like, yep, he opened the claim. Like, he's acknowledging that he did this. I knew he was, so I saw him do it.
Right.
The apps are, you know, you just boom, 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 and go ahead and get you a claim number and go from there. And it's definitely to prove that these two unknown individuals were together, you know.
Yeah, and I think we talked about this on another segment, but also insurance companies now, I don't know how many people know this, they have drones. And so a lot of times if you call from the place that you are at, and I guess it depends a lot of times on the accident, but they'll actually send the drone out and they'll go ahead and take pictures of what's transpiring or what went on or video or whatever. And that really helps, you know, your case as well when trying to determine liability, especially in the backing up cases or whatever.
Right, so that actually happened to your husband.
It did.
Right?
It did.
Yeah. At the daycare. And
it did.
Before y'all got the property, the insurance company was like, "Oh, our drone has already been out there, honey. We already got pictures and everything."
I know. It was the most insane thing. I had never heard of that until that, but it was good to know, right? Yeah. And so then you're able to also, you know, give that information to other people, so they'll go ahead and call their insurance company as well.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, we definitely thank you for tuning in today. I'm going to pop the number up here on the screen on a still shot, just in case you need to go ahead and hit that screenshot. Screenshot it. So you can reach us at 678-973-2803. Our consultations for personal injury cases are absolutely free. So like I said, if you're not sure, it's not going to cost you anything. Just give us a call, talk to us, and we'll let you know if we're able to help you. If you have a family law case, you can also dial that same number and schedule for that. Those consultations are $200 for an hour. So that is everything we have for you this week. We'll be back next week with another PI Pop-In. Make sure you follow the page, like the page on Facebook and Instagram. All right. Be blessed. Have a great week.
Have a good week.
Be wave.